Picture sails slicing through a crimson horizon, cannons poised to spit fire, and sailors hardened by salt and blood. Today, we re-going beyond myth to reveal the real pirates of the Caribbean. Men and women who didn't wear Hollywood's red scarves or chat with parrots on their shoulders. Here deals were struck in smoky taverns, mixing rum, sugar, slaves, and secrets. Charles Vane feared for his defiance and legendary rage. Mary Read had lived disguised as a soldier before turning pirate. When captured, both escaped the noose by claiming to be pregnant, a common tactic among female pirates. While these tales seem colorful, the truth was far harsher. Most pirates' lives were short. Bloody, many died dangling from gallows, their bodies left to rot in iron cages as a warning to others. The French pirate Olivier Levasseur, known as La Bouze, is said to have thrown a cryptic message to the crowd before execution. "Find my treasure, who can?" In a world ruled by kings and merchants, these outlaws chose to live and die by their own code. They paid dearly, but for a few fleeting years they turned the sea into a kingdom without crowns. Some former pirates became merchants, landowners, even politicians. Others disappeared, rumored to have sailed to distant seas or hidden islands, living out their days in secret. Between fact and legend, it's hard to say where history stops and myth begins. Their defiance still echoes, transforming criminals into the anti-heroes we can't forget. His lost fortune still draws treasure hunters, proving that even in death, pirates spark curiosity and obsession. Here's a special invitation. If this journey has awakened your thirst for hidden truths, join us at Vertex of Time. There, we dive even deeper into secret histories, forgotten figures, and stories the official books don't dare to tell. Subscribe, share this video, become part of a crew that refuses to accept history at face value. We search for answers beyond the horizon. The sea of history is vast, and this is only the beginning. Blackbeard himself died, fighting to the last breath, suffering over 20 sword cuts and 5 gunshots before falling. His severed head was hung on the bow of his captor's ship, a brutal end, yet it sealed his legend. Their raids forced European merchants to travel in heavily guarded convoys, led to fortified coastal cities, and spurred the creation of marine insurance. Even their flags, like the famous Jolly Roger, with skull and crossbones, were weapons of terror. Sometimes the sight alone made crews surrender without a fight, avoiding bloodshed through fear alone, and ended on the gallows or in a final desperate fight at sea. Jack Rackham, whose name survives largely because he sailed with 2 of history's most famous female pirates, Anne Bonny and Mary Read. But more than anything, what survives is the symbol, the refusal to bow, the courage to claim a destiny outside the laws of kings. That's why centuries later, names like Blackbeard, Anne Bonny, Charles Vane, Calico Jack Rackham, Mary Read, Benjamin Hornigold, and Henry Morgan still spark chills and fascination. Captains could be voted out. Loot was divided by pre-agreed shares. And compensation for injuries was part of the contract. Losing an arm might earn 100 gold coins. While discipline was enforced by blade and fear, this rough democracy made pirate ships a floating rebellion against the rigid monarchies of the land. These women shattered the myth that the deck was a man's world, proving that courage had no gender. Figures like Henry Morgan, a Welsh privateer turned pirate, used Port Royal as a base to launch brutal raids against Spanish strongholds like Portobello and Maracaibo, though seen as a savage raider. Morgan was also a political strategist. He plundered fiercely, but kept a thin veil of loyalty to the English crown. When arrested for attacking Panama during a time of peace, he wasn't executed. Instead, he was knighted and made governor of Jamaica. Figures like Benjamin Hornigold, mentor to Blackbeard, and the ever-defiant Charles Vane rose to fame. But this age was doomed to be brief. European empires bleeding wealth to pirate attacks turned ruthless. Governors like Woodes Rogers in the Bahamas offered royal pardons to pirates who surrendered. Many took the offer. Others like Vane fought to the bitter end, preferring death to submission. This is the first truth about Caribbean pirates. Many were pawns in a bigger game of kings, but who carved a trail of fear, gold, and a raw hunger for freedom in an age where the sea was both a promise and a death sentence. This is a saga of betrayal, fallen empires, and dreams so fierce they crashed like waves against the decks of pirate ships. Brace yourself, because the truth is darker, grittier, and far more fascinating than fiction. To truly understand these figures, we must travel back to the late 16th and early 17th centuries, when the Caribbean was the chessboard of European powers. Spain, England, France, and the Netherlands, all clawing for the riches of the New World. In this game rose men like Sir Francis Drake, celebrated by the English as a hero but cursed by the Spanish as El Drac the Dragon. There were privateers, pirates with a license from kings to attack enemy ships. And then there were true outlaws, men and women whose allegiance was only to gold and the open sea. Piracy wasn't born purely from crime. It was born from revenge, ambition, and the desire to break free from empires that bled continents dry. At the heart of this story is Port Royal, Jamaica, once called the wickedest and richest city on earth. Then came names that would echo through time. Edward Teach, better known as Blackbeard, who braided slow-burning fuses into his beard to appear like a demon summoned from the depths. Anne Bonny, the illegitimate daughter of a lawyer, dressed as a man, fought as fiercely as any, and wielded words sharper than a cutlass. Hidden beneath the chaos was the pirate code, far from the lawless image we often see. Ships ran on surprisingly democratic rules. The height of Caribbean piracy came between roughly 1650 and 1730. Known as the Golden Age of piracy, here lies another truth. Most pirates didn't die burying treasure on deserted islands, yet the myth of buried treasure has roots in history. Beyond the burned faces and powder-stained hands, there was something deeper driving them: freedom. Caribbean pirates also shaped history in unexpected ways. And when the Golden Age ended, the spirit of piracy didn't vanish completely. What remains today are stories whispered in taverns, rum-stained maps, and cannonballs buried under centuries of sand. And now, after sailing through storms, betrayals, and lost legends together,